Well, alrighty then. This is time period 6, part 2. I ran out of time very close to the end. I'm going to back up just a little bit because I was talking so fast at the end. Um, as urbanization became a thing, which means people are living, working, worshiping, shopping, whatever, in the cities, we have different boomtown areas in the West that are taking off, that are cities, but primarily we have the New Yorks, the Bostons, um, these types of areas. We have a lot of people that are considered less than because of where they come from. Cities are divided ethnically, racially, religiously, economically, by skin tone, by sub skin tone. Um, you may have, say, an Irish neighborhood, but then within that, there's going to be subsets of Irish. There's going to be people who are better off, that were worse off, that could read, that couldn't read, that had skills, that didn't have skills. Um, Everybody worked in the factories. At least the lower income people did. Women, immigrants, African Americans, and most sadly children. This is when the political machines really got their strength. If they could get the entire shift at a particular factory to vote for Sherry Boyd, that would be a great thing. So how did they do this? Um, your kid is sick. They send their doctor. Um, you, I don't know, it's the holidays and they bring by um, cranberry sauce and a loaf of hot bread. They didn't do huge things, they did social service type things. Um, they talked to the cop on the beat about not hassling your nephew next time he did whatever. And people were thankful. And a lot of new immigrants that had no idea who to vote for anyway. So they're like, hey, you'll do something for me, I vote for your guy, I'm going to go with that. Settlement houses were a whole different thing. Yes, they were also about social services, but believe it or not, this is Jane Addams' Hull House. I just grin when I see it because I love her so much. This was a ratty, dingy house in a bad neighborhood. Um, Her dad bought it for her because she would have gone and bought the shack. She would have set up in a tenement building using one apartment. And he's like, no, Dad, gummit, my daughter's going to be safe. So not only did he buy the house, um, I believe he installed a couple of servants there that, as far as she knew, they were in her employ, but really her dad was paying them extra to kind of be bodyguards and eyes and ears, spies type thing. Not because he thought she was doing bad, but this is his daughter. She goes off to do this in her 20s. Um, Hull House helps immigrants. It helps women. It helps the Polish immigrant who comes from the middle of nowhere in Poland, barely reads and writes Polish, but now is in a gigantic city, needs to be able to read and write or won't be able to get by, has no real marketable skills. Oh my goodness, she's pregnant. She's married, but she's pregnant, 21. Her mom is back in the old country. She doesn't have any help. What do I do? Whole House took care of all of that. They taught you everything from how to feed your kid healthily on a little bit of money to the best places to work, um, to how to clean your house in 15 minutes. I'm kind of making crap up at this point, but they were social services. If you were sick and had nowhere else to go, if you wanted to learn English, they ran classes. If you wanted to be a better parent or you wanted to get a job as a seamstress, there were classes on almost everything. They were all voluntary, they were all free. Um, And you know that's Boss Tweed, right? He absconded with a gigantic amount of money from Tammany Hall, ran to Europe, was caught because he was recognized from the Thomas Nast cartoons and he was extradited back here. Now we have the Transcontinental Railroad. You've seen this exact photo before because this is maybe the most famous sod house photo. They've got a glass window. You can see they've got a chimney. There's an actual door. I love that there's stairs to get you going up to the roof of the house. There's some awesome pictures of Ireland about this era where there's a cow on the roof just eating the grass. Um, but why would you build your house out of dirt and grass? Because there's no trees. There's no nothing. Um, People are migrating westward after the Civil War. They're trying to get away from the destruction. They're trying to get kind of a leg up economically. The government is got the Homestead Act going. That if you go out there, and depending on which division of the Homestead Act you're under, you go out, they're going to give you 40 acres, 60 acres, 120 acres. You've got to stay 5 years. You've got to improve the land. An improvement could, now improvement's got to be kind of permanent. A fence, a house, a barn, whatever, and you got to live on it. Then it's yours for the filing fee most of the time. Sometimes there's a little more of a fee. Treaties with natives were often violated. Pfft, there was a treaty we didn't violate, I'd like to see it. We violated pretty much all of the ones with the British. And then once we get Andrew Jackson into office in the 1830s, we violate a whole lot more. After the Civil War, we're like, look at all this land we haven't settled. Let's go and take it. There's violence, there's conflict. We have American settlers, and those are people that have been here a couple generations. We have new immigrant settlers, people who just got here, their parents haven't been here long. We have natives. We have Mexican Americans. A lot of the Mexican Americans in the Texas region, New Mexico, have been here hundreds of years, but now all of a sudden they're considered outsiders. There's just all kinds of nonsense going on. The government's response, the only good Indian is a dead Indian. Obviously not my words, not your words either. Chief Joseph tried to take his tribe and flee to Canada. We hauled them back, killed some of them, forced them onto a reservation. They were within 30 miles of Canada. Custer's last stand was actually one of the few Indian victories. 6,000 Indians against about 400 of the 7th Cavalry. It was a massacre. And I'm definitely not saying anybody deserves to die, but the Indians were so frustrated. They were so tired of signing treaties, having meetings, moving, and thinking this time was it, that time was it. The Battle of Wounded Knee. You remember the ghost dance? The ghost shirts? We were scared of it, so we attack. Um, we put natives on reservations. We forbid them from hunting. We forbid them from owning things as tribes. Um, we ship in things like alcohol and, um, in a very infamous case, blankets from a smallpox ward. Anyway, hi. We tried to get natives to assimilate through the Dawes Act. We took their children and put them in boarding schools um, where they had their hair cut. They had their names anglicized. They were forced to wear um, school uniforms. They were forbidden from speaking their native language or worshiping in their native religion. Now, Gilded Age politics is money. It's money, it's money, it's money. Yes, there are presidents, they are placeholders. The people that are running things are um, the guys referred to as the men who built America, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Vanderbilts. There are changes. We have referendum initiative and recall put in. We have the Interstate Commerce Act, which can regulate. But at the same time, there's an increase of nativism, racism. Plessy versus Ferguson um, is specifically mentioned in the new curriculum. And what it is, it's the case is about riding in a railroad car and whatever. But it comes back and says, well, sure, separate but equal is fine. Which means if you have a broken down school with no windows, dirt floor for black kids, and you have a state of the art um, brick high tech school for white kids, hey, that's separate but equal, isn't it? The case that overturns this, how can a Supreme Court case overturn another one? The more recent ruling takes precedence. And in the 1950s, there was Brown versus Board of Education. Brown versus Board of Education says separate but equal is in no ways equal. And schools must be desegregated with all deliberate speed. But until then, Plessy is the law of the land. We talked about this cartoon. If you have an immigration based question, um, I'll bet you a nickel that this one shows up with the notice of these are all the people we're going to let in. But this industrious, orderly, sober, hardworking, peaceful Chinese man does not get in. The American Protective Association, that was referenced on another page, nativism. Um, gosh, the wealthy justified their approaches through social Darwinism. Herbert Spencer, whose photo is on another page, he applies very loosely and very wrongly Darwin's ideas to humans. The idea that the rich deserve to be rich, and if the poor die, it's because they're inferior. Carnegie says, oh my goodness, no, your wealth is a blessing from God, and He gave it to you in order that you might do good and help others. Now, I'm not telling you have to believe that, but you have to believe that Carnegie believed that. And there was this whole changing point in Carnegie's life where people died, and he woke up one day and I think he said, I'm going to burn in hell if I don't change my ways. He actually wrote this pamphlet called The Gospel of Wealth. It's very similar to the social gospel, which says if you are a Christian, and this is mostly a Protestant movement, you have a duty to the poor. Because if you are called, I'm trying to think of the phrase, if you are called before the pearly gates and cannot justify your actions to others, what do you think the decision will be? That's very close. That may not be exact. Women and African Americans, politically, economically, socially, are still looking for their place in society. It's my boyfriend, Booker T. Washington, Ida B. Wells, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. She is not African American, she's female. Obviously, Ida B. Wells is both. Booker T. Washington, as you can see, with his blue eyes, is mixed race. All of these people are working for forward momentum to help those groups to which they belong. Here's your recap. I have got 34 seconds before I run out of time, but these are the things that I think you really should understand. No horizontal integration versus vertical integration, which is basically Carnegie model versus Rockefeller model. Darwinism, how it is applied, how it is wrong, according to others. The New South, the urge to industrialize, it's about to count me down. No Plessy, no the populace. I'm going to do the next time period in a second.